you'll see in games to come, he'll get better. And even next year, he's going to be even that much better than he is right now. Right now, he's just getting his feet wet and showing us what he can do. So I'm looking for this guy to be a big-time playmaker for us in the years to come, and I'm glad to have him part of the Jaguars.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, welcome everybody. This Wednesday here on Jaguars Today, the Jags head coaching search continues this week with interviews with Liam Coen, Patrick Graham, and Robert Saleh scheduled. We'll see how that all goes down. A lot of people think it's a done deal, just about, Tony, that Liam Coen will be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mm-hmm. I think that's a solid bet, but I wouldn't bet my mortgage on it. Let's just put it that way. A lot of things can happen on either side of this equation right now.
No, we'll see. Look, they're going to have him in for a second interview along with a couple other candidates, and yeah, I would say Cohen's the favorite to land the job right now. And saying that and also acknowledging I never thought Ben Johnson was the favorite to land the job in Jacksonville, right? I thought Jacksonville would have him at the top of their list, right, throughout this entire process. He was certainly the guy at the top of my list, but I never thought Jacksonville was necessarily the favorite to land Ben Johnson once they decided to keep Trent Baalke in the house. So, look, I think there's a much better shot that Cohen's going to be more open to that kind of idea than Johnson was. And no, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's how the whole thing worked out.
All right. Do you think they're just out on Aaron Glenn at this point, who visited with the Jets? And the feeling was, you always hear this, if you really like him, don't let him leave the building without a signed contract. Well, he left the building yesterday, and so did Lance Newmark, apparently the guy who everyone thought, oh, my gosh, if you just hire him, Ben Johnson's going to follow you wherever Lance Newmark goes because that's who he wants to work with. Well, the Raiders didn't hire him despite talking to him. And so he didn't go there. Chicago kept their GM. The Jags kept their GM. Newmark, who had been with Detroit for a long time, worked with Washington this past year, and it was seen as maybe if it wasn't going to be a Ben Johnson Newmark pairing, maybe it'd be an Aaron Glenn Newmark pairing as well. But as of now, it looks like he'll at least visit with the New Orleans Saints again to see what they have to offer.
I wouldn't be surprised given, look, we talked about it on the show yesterday, right? The Jets does feel chaotic, right? Like the situation in New York is just chaotic for whatever blend of reasons that might be. And you get the opportunity to sit down face-to-face for the first time in the process with Aaron Glenn. So Aaron Glenn's in the building up there for the first time and has a bird's-eye view of kind of from inside what that might look like. And there's a lot of talk outside the building that they're not going to let him leave and that kind of thing. Well, he's left the building. That doesn't mean that they're not eventually going to figure out a way to bring him in as the next head coach up there in New York. But I'm not surprised in a situation like what the Jets seem to have that anybody that would be interviewing up there would be like, well, let me hear from everyone before I make any kind of final decision on what I'm going to actually wind up doing. I can understand the situation in New York not being comfortable enough to be like, yeah, this is it. I'm done. I'm done searching for what this is going to be. Mm-hmm. I at least want to hear what everyone else has to say about this situation. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, well, we'll find out if the Jags circle back on anybody, but right now it looks like they've focused on those three guys, and the fact that Trevor Lawrence has come out and said he wants a young, offensive-minded guy, if he had his way.
His druthers, yeah.
Much like Shad Khan wanted Doug Peterson to call plays. He didn't get what he wanted, but sure. I think it might go Trevor's way here today. So I don't expect anything to come out before noon today. The Jags still have interviews to do. So if anything, related to the Jags search comes out, we'll certainly have an eye on that today. But, what we're trying to institute around here is Mock Draft Wednesday on Jaguars Today. And I appreciate the folks who, without a ton of reminders this week, went ahead and submitted their 7-round mocks already this morning. So we will get through those coming up. Dylan Denmark, fresh out of a meeting. A little pre-show meeting. I used to have a boss, Dylan, at another radio station that would love to keep me in a meeting until about 1 minute till I went on the air. And then
I bet you enjoyed that.
Oh, I just absolutely loved that. No prep time, no nothing. Just show up, hot mic, go. So how was your meeting this morning?
It was good.
Was it?
Good. It was about the YouTube.
Oh.
That's why I had to fix the camera. We were popping on YouTube.
Well, you want to make sure we're well centered in that shot. I think is what you're going for there. So it looks fantastic. I wouldn't have noticed anything was amiss had you not adjusted
Until
it.
he came in the room, I was like, what's going on with the camera?
Right. That's because I wasn't in that very important meeting, Tony, to know how important that was.
The angle was ugly.
It wasn't okay.
Had to get scraped.
Well, look who's in the shot, right? I mean, that doesn't leave you a whole lot to work with. All right, so Mel Kiper did his first mock today. It's nice in one sense when you're picking high because you don't have to go far down the list. You know who the candidates are going to be. It's going to be like, what? We took who? With pick whatever, even though we'd rather have pick 32 every year. Mason Graham going in Kiper's mock. I think that's going to be a frequent one that you see. I think he had Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter both off the board, as well as the top two quarterbacks. So had the Jags going with Mason Graham. I went with Mason Graham in our 7-round mock last week, Tony. I'm trying to mix things up in the early going. How much did you find yourself falling into similar patterns, or did you purposely try to change things up today?
Not so much purposely trying to change things up. Like when I wound up picking at 5, I wound up taking a different name than I did last week. I took Tet McMillan last week, right?
Yeah.
So I took somebody different at 5 this week, but he was certainly one of the 2 or 3 names I was still considering there at 5 ultimately in the draft. And beyond that, I think there was one name that I took last week that I wound up taking again this week, but it feels like if I'm going to wait that long to draft that position, that's the name that I'm going to be circled around for a while now. Mm-hmm. Like that kind of thing is more how it worked out, but nothing. That was day 3 of the draft before I got to any of that. So the first couple days of the draft are very different than what I did last week.
All right. I traded around a little. I traded a little deeper into the first round than I did last week because I wanted to mix it up, try some different things. So we'll get into all that today. Ryan Fowler is going to join us from the Draft Network. We're doing that coming up here in our first segment after the break. Is that right, Dylan Denmark?
Yes.
All right.
I'm texting right now. I was about to say it's 10:40. Yeah, it's 10:20.
10:20. That's what I thought. You didn't sound 100% sure, so I definitely was not 100% sure. Dylan's got a much better grasp on it than I do. But so we'll talk a little draft to kind of set the table today, Tony. But I mean, look, this is more at this point a little bit of a distraction. I think it's going to be interesting once we get 4 or 5 of these under our belts to see how things are changing, to see how the board is changing. I took 3 players from last week's draft again in this draft and felt like I needed to go a little bit earlier on a couple of them because the likelihood is the reality of what makes these things such a difficult exercise is that different sites are going to rank guys different ways. And you look and go, I got this player. I got this player here. I got a guy who's a PFF second rounder in like the 6th round. So not exactly realistic there, but I'm going to go on what's available because somebody's going to draft him at that point in time. So, but I think really we're more in wait and see mode than anything else. And is it going to be Liam Coen? And then how are you going to feel about it? And the people are going to feel a certain way, are going to feel a certain way. They're going to feel like we got second choice or whatever the case may be. And that may be accurate, but it doesn't mean he's not going to turn out to be the best choice. 1010XL posted that clip yesterday, you talking about Ben Johnson, and we're discussing the situation, and somebody replied, the confidence y'all have in Ben Johnson needs to be studied. And when you hear a clip without the full context of the conversation, I feel like we've repeatedly said, yes, we wanted Ben Johnson, but we're as much a lemming as anyone else. Fall in line that this is the hot guy. He's obviously done wonders. He's seen as the offensive whiz kid kind of thing, super creative. And we've, I think, taken great pains to repeat that. I don't know if he's going to be the best coach. So many factors go into it. What if Caleb Williams just stinks, right? Like, what if we've already seen the best of Caleb Williams? I'm just using a hypothetical. I'm not suggesting that is the case, right? There's only so much you can do with the raw material you have to work with. I think he's going to have decent raw material to work with, but I don't know if he's going to be, considered a top 5 or 10 coach 3 years down the road. Yeah,
I have an analogy about gambling that's popping around in my head, but I haven't figured out exactly how I want to word it where it would make sense yet. So when I get that worked out in my mind, maybe I'll share it with this kind of situation. But I'd say, like we said yesterday, it's more about the process. It's the Jaguars' process right now eliminated them from getting Ben Johnson. That's what it felt like. And that's what that conversation was about yesterday. It's the Jaguars process got in the way of them landing the biggest name in this year's head coaching search. That doesn't mean that Ben Johnson will definitely be the best coach that gets hired in this cycle. That's not what that means, and that's not the intent of that conversation. It's the Jaguars process seems to have gotten in the way of them landing that name. It doesn't mean they can't get a guy that has success here in Jacksonville, but it also, there's no reason to pretend like it's not what it is.
Sure.
Right? Like, they are in the position that they're in. I'm pulling for them hard. Like, I want the Jaguars to have all the success going forward. I hope they land the right guy at the right time as their head coach, and that he's way more successful than Ben Johnson has ever dreamed of being as a head coach in the National Football League. But that doesn't make the process that it feels like they're going through right now necessarily any better, and it's the process that led to them not getting Ben Johnson. Now we deal with the after effects of that. It doesn't mean they won't land a guy that helps them. I'm not saying that they won't. I'm just saying they got in their own way. It felt like a little bit with landing Ben Johnson. That's it. That's the end of that conversation.
All right. Today I've had the question of the day described as the hardest question of all time, and someone asked, this is a joke, right? Because we need them all. Well, the question today is, which of these position groups are you the least worried about for the 2025 Jacksonville Jaguars? We know that they all have some degree of concern, but which one are you the least worried about? That if you had to roll with what is already on the roster, you're better set at that position group. That's the way I look at it, at least. Or maybe you look at it like, I'm least concerned because this is easier to fill, whether it's in free agency or the draft. However you want to look at it, you get one vote. You cast it the way you see fit. But the position groups that we offered up today are cornerback, not quarterback, although we debated it because just to throw the old stinker in there to see how people reacted. Defensive tackle, interior offensive line, and I understand they don't need to replace all of them, but I didn't want to just say right guard because Mitch Morse is in his 30s, and he's going into the last year of his deal as well. So interior offensive line as a whole, and safety being the other one with Andre Sisco scheduled to become agent, and nobody distinguishing themselves in that group last year. So play along. We've already got about 240 votes on it this morning in the last hour. Which of those position groups are you the least concerned about for the 2025 Jacksonville Jaguars? Is it corner? Is it defensive tackle, interior offensive line, or safety? The position groups we've spent a lot of time discussing already here in the month of January. So we're ready to roll. Ryan Fowler from the Draft Network coming up after the first break. If you want to head over to ProFootballNetwork.com, you can knock out a 7-round mock. You can do a 3-round mock. You can do a 1-round mock. Do whatever you like, but you can knock them out very quickly. If you set the settings to fast over there, you could probably do it in 2 minutes, honestly. And if you do take the time to do that, take the time to send us a screenshot of what your final results turned out to be, and we'll share some of those as we go along today on the program as well. With Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on a Mock Draft Wednesday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
These men are consummate snowball artists.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
And they call these bozos
The Drill.
You don't know what it's like out there. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Enough, I get the point.
Rev up your life with luxury at Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Right now, used car prices are 12% lower than their peak in April of 2022, making this the perfect time to drive home in a dream car. Specializing in luxury used vehicles, offering you elegance at prices that are finally coming back down to earth. See special listings in the newspaper every Saturday or online at VaughnMotorGroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, it's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 2854-LAW. 2854-LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $2,600 per ounce. Pay bills. Buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and we're now in the third week of the new year. Have you lost 18 pounds yet? Well, you probably didn't choose Awaken 180 weight loss. I lost 18 pounds in my first 3 weeks alone. Switch it up and get your results at awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup put together by Connor and Sam at D1 is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
Pickett here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs. Did the kitchen towel take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards. Zero Res. Spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean. Zero Res.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and if it's time for you to sell your home, there is nothing like a guarantee, is there? Well, with Chad and Sandy and chadandsandy.com, you know what the guarantee is? Your home sold guaranteed, or they'll buy it. How simple can it be? Whatever problems you think you have, didn't I just eliminate most of them? Perhaps you're worried about costly repairs, needed to sell your home, not with Chad and Sandy. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. That's what the agreed upon price is all about. Chad and Sandy, check every box. Call them today. Chad and Sandy, the only local real estate experts I trust and recommend. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. Cancel at any time. Jonathan in Mount Pleasant. The only thing standing between me and my dream of traveling in my RV was the sale of my home. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Crazy results in just 3 days. Got multiple offers for full asking price. You can too. Call 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
Hey, Icken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, well, before we get to a little draft talk here with Ryan Fowler, Tony, there is breaking news on the Jaguars head coaching front. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, this is his confirmed account. I'll read it verbatim. Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Coen is taking himself out of the running for the Jaguars head coaching job to stay in Tampa on a new contract that now will place him amongst the highest paid coordinators in the NFL per sources. Bucs are keeping their OC. So, look, it's one thing when the hottest guy who's got many options out there chooses another one of those options for whatever reason. It's only one hottest guy. But when a guy who's only been approached by one team in the cycle says, nah, I'm going to stay here and not take that promotion to be your head coach.
Yeah.
And look, I get who knows what the Bucs paid him to do. He's happy doing what he does, and maybe he feels like, hey, I'm only 39 years old. I'm going to get a head coaching opportunity to come along again, and I want the perfect one. And
it is what it is.
Think what you think about it. We'll open the phone lines up to you coming up in about 20 minutes if you want to weigh in on that. But Liam Coen will not even take the second interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars now, as you can scratch him off the list. And who knows? I mean, the Bucs acted because I think they felt like if he got the second interview, very likely he's going to get offered the job. Once you get offered the job, it's tough. Let's make sure we don't let him get to that point. Obviously, they coveted him to that degree. So we'll discuss that more as the couple of hours go along before we're out of here today at noon. We are going to talk a little draft here with Ryan Fowler from the Draft Network. Ryan, you walk into a little bit of a breaking news situation there, but doesn't really change the needs for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thanks for the time this morning, and how you doing here in the early days of 2025?
I'm doing well, guys. I know a lot of the attention in Jacksonville is get the right guy in the building, but this is obviously a roster, right, that has talent on both sides of the ball, and hopefully they get the right guy in place and hopefully get this thing back on the tracks here moving into 2025.
Yeah, I mean, we hear that, but the end results are what they are, and I do think they had more talent than a 4-win team. That was evidence. When you look at this team, what do you put at the top of their wish list in terms of needs heading into the offseason? We know some will be filled in free agency, others in the draft. Some might go unfilled because that happens in the offseason. But how would you prioritize what the Jags need to get done?
Yeah, I think first things first, when you look on either side of the ball for Jacksonville, it is nice that, your headliners as far as the guys going to enter free agency are your Brandon Sheriffs and your Andre Siscos of the world. Now, next year, there's the question, of course, with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, and that's down the road. But when I look at this roster, it looks, for me, on defense. It's in the interior, in the trenches, defensive line, and then also at corner. When you're at 5 and you have a position to take a franchise-type cornerstone in this draft, whether that's a Mason Graham, is that a Will Johnson? But I wouldn't even go as far as to say that Travis Hunter would be available there. Why? Because the teams in front of them are going to be quarterback hungry. They're going to take a chance on Sugar Sanders and Cam Ward. Maybe a team potentially falls in love with the Jalen Milroe. It only takes one team to do it. We've seen crazier things happen. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, to me right now, it's on defense, it's interior defensive line, or it's corner early on in this draft.
How do you evaluate Travis Hunter? Is he more of a corner or wide receiver? And do you think he would be the better prospect at either of those positions if he was just one of those in this year's class?
Yeah, it's the golden question, right, when it comes to Travis Hunter. For me, guys, personally, he's the top corner in this draft, and he's the top receiver in this draft for me. I think he is. I'm not going to use that generational term. We hear a lot every year as far as the top prospects. But this young man, what he is able to do on either side of the ball, you hear the stuff as far as the Charles Woodson comparisons, the Deion Sanders comparisons. No one has done anything in the history of college football as far as what Travis did on either side of the ball at a Power 4 conference and projecting him to the NFL level. Now, if I'm Travis's camp, a lot of the talk has been with him staying at receiver because that's where the money is. But I think for him right now, the potential performance ceiling reaching it early on in his career would be at corner, and specifically in Jacksonville, to where you're playing opposite of Tyson Campbell. They got some young pieces within the front seven, the ability to make some plays on the football. I think for him, the ability to come in and shut down a third of the side of the field for you, which is what he is, the type of instincts that he has. Now, I will say this. Everybody talks about the good things with Travis Hunter. A worry for me with Travis Hunter is he is light, and he is going to be attacked in the ground game. That's not saying that he's not afraid to stick his face in the mud and get after people on the outside, but he will be attacked in the ground game to his side at the NFL level, getting off blocks, adding some more mass and strength to his body without getting away from that functional mobility that he has and the flexibility in his frame. But I think he's a sensational ball player. I think if he's a guy that stays at receiver, you're going to have to play him on defense at certain points. If he stays at corner, you absolutely have to have a package or 2 or 3 for him on offense, because I do think he's that special of a player.
All right, so, Ryan, when you look at what the Jags need, and we talked about that a little bit, right? They do need defensive tackle help. They need guard. They need probably some edge depth. They possibly need safety and corner and maybe a running back at some point. They need a lot of things. But what is the position or a couple of positions that you'd feel most comfortable that if they didn't address early, that somewhere in rounds 3 through 5, there's still going to be a surplus of talent at those spots?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. You're right. I think you look at running back. There obviously are some questions, right, with Travis and Tank. I really liked Tank coming out of Auburn a few years ago, and someone that I would have liked to see more carries these last few years. But the running back class is going to be historic. And I mentioned defensive line earlier as well. But when I look at a guy and in this class working in a day 3, that I think the Jaguars, and I had some conversations with some individuals in the building here over these last few weeks. And a name to know is Woody Marks from USC. He was at Mississippi State, transferred over out there to the West Coast, and someone that is not getting a ton of attention right now in this class, where teams have upwards of 35 draftable grades on running backs. He's someone I think is going to get a guy that we look down the road 2-3 years from now and say, how in the heck did this guy fall to the potentially the 4th round of this draft? And he's going to be an immediate contributor. But, I look at safety. I really like – Savage has had some good reps. Montero Brown playing on the outside as far as a guy that stay back and forth at Arkansas. Antonio Johnson's a guy I really loved at A&M as far as really coming to his own. Those are some positions that I think you can wait to address till day 3 or so. This safety class as a whole, guys, is really talented. At the top, Malachi Starks and Nick Emenwari from South Carolina, those are your headliners. But day 3, Jonas Sanker from Virginia, Hunter Wohler from Wisconsin, those are 2 guys I really like in this class as far as multi-phase potential contributors. And what I mean by that is defense, and then also playing and cutting your teeth on special teams as well. So, again, there's roster on this team. There's no question about it. But you don't win games on an Excel spreadsheet. You got to line up. You got to strap up and compete. And more so, you got to execute on Sunday.
How deep into this draft do you think teams will be able to find a guard that could start day 1?
Now, I will say this. The tackle class, specifically, offensive line class as a whole, is not last year's class. I remember sitting down there in Mobile last year watching Talise Fuaga, Jackson Powers Johnson, the Brandon Colemans of the world, just flat out dominate along the front 5. But this class, I will say this, boards across the league are all over the place. You head into a year and you have guys 350, 400 prospects to know. This year, I feel like it's 500 or more. And what I mean by that is you can find guys, if you understand how to scout, and the football people doing the football jobs in the building, you can find guys in every day of this draft to come in and compete either as a starter or rotationally. And when I look at this interior line class, it is weak, fundamentally, top to bottom. But I think there's guys, whether it's a Jonah Monheim, it's Clay Webb is a small school guy from Jacksonville State, Charles Grant from William & Mary that played tackle, but there's a lot of talk of him playing guard. That's really the conversation of a lot of these guys in this class. Or on day 2, a guy like Marcus Bowe from Purdue that lived at right tackle. He's one of the more unorthodox players in this entire class, just the way he attacks defensive linemen. He's going to be down at the Senior Bowl next week. Excited to see him live. There's some guys to be had. It's just trusting your scouting staff to look at this group and say, there may not be the most talent in the world. This is not the 24 class. But if we can find guys to contribute, come in and be coached up a little bit, what we want to do, find the right skill sets, you're going to be able to draft and find some guys in every single day of this class.
Let me ask you, Ryan, we got a couple minutes left here. The Jags have 2 young players, one that they just committed a long-term deal to, the other they'll likely do that with at edge in Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. If Abdul Carter is there at 5, does it make sense for the Jaguars to take a guy, and we always hear you can't have enough pass rush depth, but I personally would like a guy who's going to start if you're taking him in the top 5. Does that pick make sense for this team the way it's constituted?
For me, it does. I think Abdul's a guy. You've heard all the Micah Parsons comparisons. Wearing the 11, coming from Penn State, the type of skill set, going from backer to edge this year. Abdul Carter's been my edge one in this class since back in last May when we really started diving into this class. And I get it, right, looking at this depth chart as far as will the snaps immediately be there. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, for me, guys, are in a little bit of a situation to where we never really see teams in the top 7 to 8 picks that have a chance to potentially say, we're just going to take best player available, add this guy to our class and add to our roster, and just build this thing out. And Abdul Carter's a guy I think that's going to be an immediate contributor, whether you want to play him at 5 tech, you want to play him outside backer a little bit. Now, you're not drafting him to replace a Chad Muma type right in the middle of your defense. But I think he's a player worth top 5 capital and a guy that you can absolutely say, we want you in the building to be BPA and create a defensive front to wreak havoc on a lot of these young quarterbacks around the AFC South.
Who do you think is the toughest player to evaluate in this year's class?
I think Shadur Sanders is absolutely up there for me. There's another guy, Dion Walker from Kentucky, that's got a lot of first-round buzz. And really, this edge class as a whole, I can sit here and talk about Michael Williams from Georgia, Taylor Walker from Georgia. A lot of the word potential is thrown around with a lot of these guys, but that word sometimes can be coached fired as far as taking potential on somebody. Look back to the Emmanuel Forbes experiment in Washington. But Shadur Sanders is really going to be the toughest eval for me in this class. It was really nice to see him go from Jackson State to Colorado. I think the talent is there. I think the processing, the ability to win shoulders up is there. But I want to see a little bit more athleticism. It's really not there for me. The mobility in today's game, you got to be able to move a little bit more. And then also looking at his surroundings, where some of the times it was, I'm just throwing up to Travis Hunter and he's going to make a play for me. Shadur is going to be a really interesting eval for me. And really, he's been an interesting eval as well for teams, where some teams have him in the top 15, some teams have him in day 2, middle of the day 2. So he's going to go high in this draft. I fully expect that. I wouldn't be shocked even if he's QB1 off the board. I know the Giants have a lot of tension these last few weeks as far as they're going to take a quarterback. But he's been the toughest eval for me, and I think he's going to be overall as we head towards April.
All right, Ryan Fowler, you can find him at thedraftnetwork.com or on Twitter or X at _Ryan Fowler _ is where you'll find him there. And Ryan, good stuff. We appreciate you hopping in the middle of a little breaking news storm here, but we appreciate the insight. Won't be the last time we call you to talk draft before April.
Absolutely. Thanks as always, guys. Take care.
Thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. There he goes, Ryan Fowler from the Draft Network. All right, if you missed it at the beginning of the segment, we passed along the news coming down from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Liam Coen has decided not to interview again with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Buccaneers upped his contract. He'll remain on as their offensive coordinator. So where do the Jags go from here? We'll discuss that next. But your reaction, welcome at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
I need some Girl Scout cookies.
See? And you can also go to the text line.
We all do right now.
I need some Girl Scout alcohol. That's what I need right now. Do they sell that? Do they make that? Anyway, your reaction coming up next. Ours as well, as Liam Coen won't even grant the Jags the second interview as he stays with the Buccaneers in a coordinator position rather than come here and be the head coach of your favorite football team. We'll discuss that straight ahead. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I got to have them cookies, baby.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Hear everything you need to know about Duval's home team every day.
I didn't see a lot of blitz.
You got 4 deep guys on the home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Florida's weather is unpredictable. Don't let the Epic chill catch you off guard. For reliable heating services, call Epic Cool Heating and Air. Keep your home cozy all season long. Call 904-859-EPIC. 904-859-3742.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Good teachers and coaches get the most out of their scholar athletes. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Wednesdays on The Franchi Show.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love.
Is this for Shad? Or is this
I was going to play this song because it was cold this morning, but I think it's kind of...
I know. I was trying to come up with a better reference for it. You never take advice. I know. We've seen it before, Tony. Oh, no! Too appropriate. Get it off. Stop it. Oh, he didn't really have to.
This is a really good song.
It's right there. It is a good song.
It's crazy how accurate that feels in the moment.
Yeah, it really does. All right, so again, Jags will not get a second interview with Liam Coen. He is staying in Tampa to be their offense coordinator on an increased salary. Let me just get to a couple of texts. They have been pouring in. I'm sure I missed some really good ones. With Johnson and Coen gone, this is a text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. What's the rush at this point? Why not wait a couple more weeks and wait for Brady or Kingsbury to be available? Okay, that on the surface makes some sense. Okay, here's one way it could play out. Okay, you interview Solly, interview Graham. You haven't requested a second interview with anybody else. Are we getting the job or not? Well, hold on. I'd like to stretch this out for a while, right? And let's just say, and you may say, well, they have no other head coaching jobs. Well, neither do Liam Coen, right? What if Robert Saleh goes, you know what, I'm going to take bird in hand. I'm going to become the highest paid defensive coordinator with San Francisco, which is the rumor that's out there. What if Patrick Graham goes, I'm being jerked around here? You know, I don't know that they would in that case. What if then you pivot and Brady goes, I'm going to stay in Buffalo. We got a pretty good thing rolling right here. Or the same for Cliff Kingsbury. We don't know what their level of interest would be in this job. I mean, obviously you think Brady is interested somewhat because they requested an interview and they did it. Here's the problem, Tone, the bigger problem in the whole thing to me. The Jags could pull a rabbit out of the hat or a horseshoe out of any body area you'd like to describe.
Yeah.
And end up with the best coach in the cycle. They could, right? But that coach is now going to come in with the presumption that the Jags have struck out on their top two choices, whether that's true or not. Now, I don't know for a fact that Ben Johnson was their top choice. It seems logical. He was the most coveted guy out there. There had been talk that he desired working with Trevor Lawrence. Why wouldn't he be a top choice? He spurns you. Okay, Liam Coen, when you look at what Trevor wanted, he wants a young offensive-minded guy. Well, out of the three guys you asked for a second interview with, he was the one that fit that profile. And now he's off the table. So whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Because the perception is going to be that this guy, whoever they hire now, is at best the Jags' third choice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to come in with that cloud over their head that a decent portion of the fan base is going to look. There's always going to be some people like, I'm going to cheer for whoever, and that's how I'm going to be, right? I'm going to root on whomever that happens to be, but can't be oblivious to the idea that that person's going to come in a less than ideal atmosphere from the fan base. You know, just like, see, there you go. And like the fan base is in part, not all of them. There's going to be some desire to like almost, boy, I hope they fail because that'll just prove how bad Trent Baalke really is in this circumstance.
I've already seen plenty of that reaction here in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that what I described that speaks for everyone in the listening audience. I'm just saying that overall that is going to be, and it's going to be the national perception, and it may be the fact. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying whether it is the fact or not. Now, Robert Saleh gets hired. It should be a celebratory time for him, and I think for some Jag fans, yay! For others, it's going to be, that's great.
Yeah.
Had to have a coach.
3 weeks ago, there was real national conversation that the Jacksonville job was probably the best of the jobs available. Right? And now their top two candidates, it appears, are saying, no, thank you. right, to what's going on in Jacksonville. If what is making it a job that these people don't want then, right? If the perception around the entire National Football League community is that it's probably the best job available, then what's making it not the best job?
Right. Not everyone has to agree, by the way, that it is the best job, even if without Trent Baalke, but that seems to be a common denominator here. Being loyal to Trent, this is on the text line, is going to cause the Jags to suck until he gets rid of him. I don't want to hear Shad say that winning matters to him until Trent is gone. That is representative of a lot of what we're getting here today. I'm not going to read every single one because a lot of them is going to be a repeat. Here's one on the other side. Oh no, a coach who was the third choice is going to get one of 32 head coaching jobs in the world where he'll make $10 million a year. First of all, the average coach's salary is reportedly around $8 million, and that means probably a good portion of the league is making less than that. But whatever. Yes, it's fine. How will he ever emotionally make it through? Laugh out loud. Get a grip, Mike. If you don't think these things are important to how you're going to be perceived, like what people are talking about,
do you want to engage in the conversation or not, man? Right? Like, that's not the conversation we're having, is whether or not the next guy who gets hired will be happy to have a job in the NFL. That has nothing to do.
But he's going to come in under a cloud.
Yes, he will.
Right.
And to pretend like he won't is stupid.
Yeah, and so does that mean he wouldn't take the job and wouldn't be able to, we all look at it from the perspective of, man, if only I could have $6 million or $8 million a year. Sure, we'd put up with a lot for that.
We're all with it.
Robert Saleh's got a job waiting for him.
He does.
He doesn't have to become a head coach in this cycle to become a very rich man. He's got a job with a good organization waiting for him in San Francisco that have already said, come back to us, we'll make you the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league.
They're all making very comfortable livings. With or without the Jaguars job, they're all making very comfortable livings being coaches at the level that all these guys are coaches in the National Football League. I don't even know why that's part of anyone's mindset with this conversation. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about as to why whoever comes in here is going to be looked at the way he's going to be looked at. It's just reality.
Here's another. McManus said Saleh's his first choice. You can't be disappointed with a proven defensive coach with his qualifications. You might not be.
Yeah.
You can be disappointed by whatever disappoints you. If you wanted Ben Johnson or bust, you would be disappointed by anything at that moment. Now, that doesn't mean whoever comes in can't win you over.
Yeah.
But again, you're going to be the new coach, whoever that turns out to be, is going to be facing an uphill perception battle.
And the broader conversation, and look, we'll be talking to Tommy here in a couple days on the show, and we'll get his reaction to all of this. Not this week, right? But it's one of these things where, look, even if Saleh was the top guy on his list, I don't think Tommy ignores where it appears the other two guys that have said no to the job were. On the perceived list from the Jaguars' perspective, not Tommy's, from the Jaguars' perspective, it feels like they are 0-2 in the box right now. Right? Like, they're right there waiting. They said these are our top two guys. With everything that they've done publicly, it feels like these are our top two guys. They both said, no, thank you, to working for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That doesn't mean that Robert Saleh can't wind up being a good hire. No one has said that. I'm not trying to say that. It also doesn't mean that Robert Saleh, if you get hired, like you said, Mike, won't be dealing with the baggage of the other two guys having said no. He will. That's the reality of the situation. How heavy is that baggage for Saleh if he's the guy who gets hired? I don't know. I can't answer those questions, but he will be third. Like
the perception will be that we settled.
They won't talk about it that way. The first time they talk about it publicly, they won't talk about it that way. It's all going to be
talk about it that way.
But perception is reality. There's a reason that it's been a saying forever. Perception is reality.
From Jag Knoll, there's a good name I haven't heard in this cycle. Do you think the Jags will interview Doug Peterson for the head coaching opening, Tony? He's a Super Bowl champion.
Yes.
He's one of Shad Khan's most trusted advisors well.
I did put out the poll during the last break. It was like, if you knew that the coaching search would turn into what it has turned into at this point, would you have been in favor of just rolling it back? Right, with both of them coming back for one more year. And I'm curious to see how
I think a lot of people are going to say, yes, I would have kept them both in the hopes that they went down in flames together. Right?
We'll see.
It'd be one thing to keep Peterson on a lame duck year like the Dallas Cowboys did with Mike McCarthy. It'd be another to say, all right, Doug Peterson's back. We're going to extend him for 3 years because that's what most teams do. All right, your reaction right now, if you want to weigh in, 641-1010. Let's get Anthony in Charlotte up first. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I was just calling because they're not going to do anything until they get rid of Trent Baalke. I'm a 49er fan. I've seen this happen before. We're talking about.
All right, Anthony, I appreciate it, man. I honestly, I don't really care that much, not to be rude, but I'll risk being rude. What 49er fans think about this head coaching search. We have our own thoughts about Trent Baalke. We understand what he did in San Francisco. And, I think 49er fans delight in calling up this program and talking about you're stuck with Trent Baalke. Quite frankly, we get it, okay? And so be it. Called all the way. That's a little I appreciate you listening from Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Considering you're not a Jags fan, that's a little interesting, but nevertheless. Let's go to Anthony in New York next up. Anthony, go ahead, please.
How's it going, guys? It's
Good.
been a long time since I called in. But lifelong Jaguar fan. I happen to live up in New York, and my family's got Jets season tickets for a very long time. And, we watched in person a lot of the Robert Saleh, games, and you always leave the stadium kind of feeling like you got out-coached. And, my question is, going with a guy from, looking at the Jets, they're not a very good franchise either. Going with a guy that has, a little bit of, I guess he's looked a lot better over the last 3 months with the way Jeff Ulbrich panned out.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of questions with him as far as he doesn't attack much with the healthiest roster in football over that 2-year span with the Jets. They seem like they were a little overinflated in their statistics and the way they were able to pressure the quarterback. So my worry is coming to the Jaguars with a really, really beat-up secondary over the last few years, not a lot of talent. Will he be able to succeed? And my last question is, with the current state of the Jaguars coaching search, would you just wait till after the Super Bowl, let all these guys play out the season, and bring in more offensive coaches?
It depends. I mean, look, if you liked a bunch of other offensive coaches, why weren't you already speaking to them? It would be my question. Why did they become candidates when you had a list of 10 people you reached out to, and these guys didn't crack your top 10, and now you're going to sell us that these are some of the best candidates available? The Cliff Kingsbury may be an exception because he put out the word that he wasn't going to interview for anything until afterwards, so that there's no point in requesting an interview until he's out of it. But it certainly felt like with the Jags doing second interviews this week with 3 coaches, or at least trying to, that the process was moving on, right? That we've reached a new stage. Right now, do I think Saleh could improve this defense? Yes, I do think he could improve this defense.
Mm-hmm.
He was very good. Their defense fell off drastically, statistically, when he was fired. And if he were the defensive coordinator, I'd be quite excited about that.
Yeah.
As the head coach, and I'm kind of meh on it. Give me Joe Brady at this point. Give me Todd Monken. Give me an offensive-minded guy. I want to get the best out of Trevor Lawrence. If Robert Saleh is hired here, who is he hiring to get the best out of Trevor Lawrence? Because he's not a quarterback's coach. He's not a quarterback's guru. Liam Coen has been a quarterback. He's been an offensive coordinator. He's been a guy that, and again, wasn't Ben Johnson the level of excitement, but it made a lot of sense, checked a lot of boxes. I mean, it's not over right now, Tony, but I'm not here to just say, all right, I'm going to wait until after the Super Bowl is over with and just sit on my hands, unless it is absolutely Cliff Kingsbury or Joe Brady that you covet at this point. If it's one of those guys, but to wait until after the Super Bowl and then bring in a whole bunch of new offensive coaches, bring them in now. Yep. Who are you waiting for to interview other than Kingsbury potentially?
Yeah, and look, I don't know how it's actually going to be happening when whoever gets hired here in Jacksonville. But I think the 2 guys that they had at the top of their list were at least 2 men who, if they got hired as the head coach, when things started happening in Jacksonville, you could say, I think they might actually be in control of some of the things that are happening with this. Like Baalke, how involved is he with some of the decisions that would be being made? I don't know that I have that kind of confidence with Robert Saleh because he did it in New York, right? Like, how much control did he have over anything that was going on? And if he got hired here, fair or not, to Robert Saleh, I'd be going, is Baalke still in complete control?
Yeah.
Of all these things that are happening. And it's the 2 guys that I think could at least mute some of that question in my mind have said no. And I can't imagine that part of the reason they said no wasn't, I don't want to answer to that guy. Right? Like, I just feel like that's the bad process Jacksonville has going right now.
Here's what our poll indicated on Monday. Looks like the someone else voters are looking good right now. As of today, as of Monday, who do you think will be the next head coach of the Jaguars? Not necessarily who you would like it to be. Liam Coen, 45% of the vote, gone. Ben Johnson, 35% of the vote, gone. Aaron Glenn, 10% of the vote, or 9.9, not asked for a second interview as of right now. Presumption was yesterday he'd be the Jets head coach, although he left without getting a deal done. And someone else, 10.4%, you're looking pretty prescient right now. And many of those thought it'd be it was a solid Brady kind of mix in there. Look, I hope the next guy comes in and does a phenomenal job. I'm going to pull for him. I'm not going to bash the guy who's not had a chance to even make his mark on the team. But if you don't think that there's going to be a negative cloud hanging over the next head coach hire, at least and until we see how they perform, you can win your way out of that. Start 8-1. Nobody's going to care what we thought when whomever it is gets hired. But until that point in time, it's going to be an interesting offseason to be sure. 641-1010 if you want to get on board. We will roll through in hour number 2 our 7-round mocks that we put together today, and we'll take a look at some of the ones that have been submitted this morning as well. Liam Coen going back to Tampa as their offensive coordinator will not give the Jaguars a second interview. That's the news of the day. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. 10 years strong for this company that has helped over 23,000 clients drop a combined 750,000 plus pounds. 98+% satisfaction rating from those clients as well. Why? Well, you're going to lose weight quickly initially, then you're going to level off and lose about 4 to 5 pounds a week, and it's going to be consistent. You're going to hit your goal if you follow the program, and then you're going to be able to maintain that weight if you continue to follow the coaching and advice that you get, which, by the way, once you hit that goal weight, is absolutely free. That's right. Free support for life was and still is the backbone of the Awaken 180 program, and after a decade and all that success, they continue to go strong in helping clients eliminate the need for cholesterol medication, blood pressure, and sometimes even type 2 diabetes medications. If you want to lose weight and keep it off, schedule a free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com and become the next Awaken 180 success story.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Follow the JU Dolphins on 1010XL.
The Dolphins dive into Georgia with their 5-game win streak for a war with the Wolves. JU West Georgia, Thursday at 7 on 1010 AM.
Football's heating up. The NBA is back. And on Hard Rock Bet, you can bet every sport. Even combine all your sports into one bet. One Florida bettor put $50 on a combo parlay and won more than $100,000. And they tacked on another $10,000 to that win with a daily profit boost. Promos every day for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional wrestling. Daily's Place, the home of AEW. And on Saturday, January 25th, Collision returns live. It's a new year and a whole new era in AEW. And there's no better time to experience the excitement than right now. AEW Collision Homecoming, live from Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Tickets on sale now, starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
It's New Year's resolution time, like fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting your AC ready for the summer. Start the year off right with Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Call us today at 904-862-6769, because when you're stuck, call the Duck.
Daily's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daily's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daily's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Making a difference in our community for 2025? Paul Martinez here, President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. The Boys and Girls Clubs offers a safe environment to youth every day with homework assistance, a hot meal, career readiness, and character and leadership programs. 57% of club alumni say the Boys and Girls Club saved their lives. Help us grow our outreach as we serve the kids in our community throughout our 59 clubs. Go to bgcnf.org to donate and learn more.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to ITPPartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World,
simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. The number 5 ranked Florida Gators are preparing for another SEC matchup on the road, this time in Columbia, South Carolina, to tip off with the Gamecocks. The Gators are a 10.5-point favorite tonight. However, Gators head coach Todd Golden knows they can't look past another tough SEC opponent.
They're very good. They're big. They're very physical. You know, obviously Murray Broyles is one of the best players in the league. Has turned himself into a really, really good player. Really difficult to guard. Pringles had a lot of success. Obviously played on a really good Bama team last year. Drawn a lot of fouls, getting to the line a lot. And then Bosman Verdonk, just another big physical body. Pretty good passer. Knows how to play a little bit. They are a very physical team. They're very physical. They guard hard. Obviously, being on the road is a challenge in itself, but playing against a physical program like South Carolina will be even more of a challenge.
33 degrees at 11:02. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Dylan has never purposely listened to a song this low-key in his life.
What are you talking about?
Ever. You're more upbeat than this. I'm saying that the Jags are dragging you into a somber headspace right now. Am I wrong?
A little bit.
All right. I'm not saying that, you can't respect Johnny Cash or anything like that. Or Johnny Cash covering U2. Was it yesterday?
Yeah. I don't know if I this is him covering 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, I don't know if I needed that, but that's fine. Very talented guy. Anyway, did he do a whole album of covers? Is that what he did?
No. This was just on the last album that he ever released. It just happened to be on it. And Trent Reznor, the lead vocalist for Nine Inch Nails, when he heard it, said he heard the version. Was he upset about it? He's like, no, that's Johnny's song now. That's how good of a cover it was.
It's Johnny Cash, man.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll say I'm going to put you guys. I'm getting a lot of. Well, we're getting a lot of, Shad this, Shad that, Trent this, Trent that. But we're also getting some of, you guys are soft. I can't believe you're concerned that this coach is going to worry about coming into this situation and all that. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Yeah. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. That's God bless America, right? But so I'll give you the positive spin on this, okay? Last year, Washington wanted to hire Ben Johnson.
Correct.
And Ben Johnson said, nah, going to stick with what I got. We got a pretty good offensive setup here. I doubt this will be the last time I'm a head coaching candidate. I'm going to pass. By the way, Ben Johnson story came out this week. I don't know if it's probably, it's either from somebody in the NFC North or some disgruntled Jaguar person. I honestly don't know who put it out, but the story is he wanted to stick with Sam Howell and not draft Jaden Daniels, according to what the latest is last year. That had he been in Washington, that would have been the setup. I don't know. But anyway, so he doesn't go. And they settle for, I say settle because he wasn't their top choice. They settle for a defensive-minded head coach who hires a very good offensive coordinator, at least one that did a very good job this year, in Cliff Kingsbury. Now, granted, they got a new quarterback in, which helped turn things around, but we're talking about, obviously, the Washington Commanders, who are still playing among the Final Four teams this year. So because it didn't go the way you anticipated or desired it, doesn't mean, you can't get luck. Like sometimes, Tony, it's like in fantasy football.
Yeah.
You offer a trade and they reject it, and you're like, 2 weeks later, you're like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I'm so glad they rejected it. Sometimes the trades the best ones you make are the ones you don't make, right? Maybe sometimes the best hires will be the ones you don't make. I don't know that as of today, but I'm not putting that out of the realm of possibility. I'm not, people are pushing the Jaguar line. I'm not pushing any line. That's within the realm of possibilities, within the range of outcomes, right? That's what you got to hope for now, that whomever they hire has a plan. Whether it's an offensive guy, defensive guy, we'll see. Yeah. We presume Liam Coen was next up. Maybe he wouldn't have been the guy. I think he would have been offered the job had he interviewed here. Certainly the Bucs were fearful of that as they made a counter move to keep him there. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, they're going to hire somebody to be the head coach. And as we've said, every time that we've talked about, I'm pulling for whoever they hire. I want to see the team have success, right? But that doesn't mean I'm going to close my eyes to the reality of what seems to have happened here in the last 3 or 4 days when it comes to the Jaguars head coaching search. It doesn't make me feel any better about the decisions they're going to be left with at head coach, because I don't think it's the decisions they wanted to have to be making at the head coach position. And if your organization, I hope they get lucky and find a guy and he does turn into that kind of thing. That'd be awesome, right? I'm not going to complain if he does. And I'm cheering for that to be the direction this thing goes, but I'm not hopeful that that's how this whole thing's going to land. We'll see, though.
All right. Boy, this would be a tough. So Willie Taggart is the running backs coach in Baltimore, someone just mentioned. After Derrick Henry's success, is Taggart an option?
Holy cow.
I'm going to say no on that one. On all I mean, maybe as a running backs coach, sure. But I think Derrick Henry might have been good before he got to Baltimore. But, good job by Willie Taggart. Did not realize he was the running backs coach.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Oh, my God. Could you?
Jacksonville reacting to Willie Taggart being hired.
Taggart. Doug, come back. Doug, come back.
Holy cow.
Willie Taggart, he's going to hire Doug Peterson as his OC. Let's go to Paul in New York before we hit this break. Paul, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead. We got him? Paul, you there?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Now we can. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, I'm longtime fan. I lived in Jags for 15 years. Listen to you guys every day. My thought was, the entire league knows Balky's a snake. And, I like Saleh, but he was just backstabbed in New York. And if it's, league-wide known that Balky's a snake and the Jags are getting desperate, well, candidates kind of use this as leverage against Balky? Because, who wants to work with him,
Yeah, I would think, though, at this point, let's presume that that's the case, right? And he says no. I mean, if Shad apparently wasn't willing to blow out Trent Baalke for Ben Johnson, or maybe, well, I don't know. Like, I'm not in the room, right? These are presumptions that this has been reported by national reporters that he was the roadblock. He's not going to do it now. He's not going to, if he's not going to do it for the top guy on everyone's list, he's not going to do it for anybody else.
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't imagine, at least at this point in time, which is why I thought it was kind of lit. Tell us how you would, I'd be open to it if you tell us a new way of structuring things, which it's not a matter of how you structure it. It's a matter of who is in the structure. Who's the person that you're dealing with, the personality. And again, I'm basing this on multiple national reporters saying that Trent Baalke was the impediment to Ben Johnson taking this job. Dan Hicken saying he knows for a fact that was the case. I mean, that's what he has said. I've heard enough that I believe it. I can't say I know firsthand because I was not in the room. I was not told by, a source close to Ben Johnson that. I'm just taking all the reporting and making the obvious assumptions based off of it. So let's see. I've not been in the it's all about Baalke camp. I am now, said Irish diplomacy. All right. Well, and the fact of the matter is it may not all be about Baalke, right? And maybe this wasn't the ideal spot for Liam Coen for other reasons included, but it certainly seems like that is a big stumbling block right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, let's come back, Tony, with our pre-planned agenda today. And, breaking news does alter things around here. So if you want to weigh in with your reaction, still hit us up in the YouTube virtual studio chat. You can hit us up on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hit us up on social media, whatever the case. But when we return, we'll go through the 7-round mocks that we prepared over at ProFootballNetwork.com. Feels a little deflating at the moment, but regardless, Jags are still going to draft in April. They still got a bunch of picks. Let's see what we did with them coming up on the other side. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL, Jacksonville's one-of-a-kind.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
This is 1010XL.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we won it, we got to bring it.
My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound & Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a sound bar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound & Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TURN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Jags Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at ProjacksRoofingFL.com.
Ring in the new year with a new boat. Don't miss the Jacksonville Boat Show, January 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at BoatJacks.com. Come buy a boat.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, time to dig in on a mock draft Wednesday, despite the news of the day. You don't even know this song. What are you putting in to your search terms?
I just Google stuff. Sad songs.
Well, that would be appropriate.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, thanks to the folks who sent us their 7-round mocks. Won't be able to go through all of them. Just wanted to highlight some of the first picks, though, on a few of these, Tony. Got Tet McMillan, the wide receiver, going number 5 in this one. I had Wyatt Milam going in the second round, a guy we talked about a lot last week. Here's another one with Will Johnson, the Michigan corner, and another one with Tet McMillan. So he's starting to grow on some of our folks out there. Gray Zabel in this person's draft, the gray man. I was sad I couldn't get him this time. I got him last week. I felt like at a good value. But, you know, I'm going to fall in love with these guys that are never going to play with the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, let's get to it. Here we go. First round. for mine. I traded down, I think, twice. I ended up accumulating 4 extra picks in this draft for myself. That's right. Getting it done like only myself and Trent Baalke can.
Game the system,
down
baby.
the board. That's what I'm doing, Dylan. I got 2 extra second rounders. I got pick 125 and I got pick 147 for my effort. So at number 18, I got Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU. A lot of people think he'll slide inside and play guard. That's where I have my eye on taking him there. Don't love the idea of taking a guard at 5 necessarily, at least one that's not a surefire, top of everyone's list guy. So I wanted to try it out, see if I went offensive line in the first round. Knew I could get Campbell a little bit later. By the way, Kuiper had him like 10 in his mock. It's not outrageous to think he might last to the mid-teens. Then again, not outrageous to think he'll be off the board in the single-digit picks as well. So Campbell, my pick at 18. Who you got in the first?
Not at all. The only offer I got in the first this time around on the mock draft was to move down to 17. That was just too far.
Okay. I did it
me.
piecemeal, by the way. I made one move, saw it was on the board, made another move.
Yeah. So I said no to the offer there to move down to 17 and wound up sticking at 1-5 and taking defensive tackle Mason Graham. I've seen the draft profile stuff, short arms, all that stuff. I don't know how high he'll be on Trent Baalke's
It's not your
board.
Trent draft. It's your draft.
It's my draft, and so I went with Mason Graham in the
He was my first rounder last week. Dylan, what'd you do in the first round?
I had 2 trade offers to go back to 13 and 20. I said no, so I stayed at 5 and picked Mason Graham.
All right, so 2 for Mason Graham, 1 for Will Campbell this time around. Let's see, second round, I got 2 guys that Kuiper had in his first round of his mock, right? So, again, how realistic is this? I don't know. But one guy who seems to be rising up the board is Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M. I took him last week at 44. This week I take him at 36. He's 290, can play the run, can play the pass, has some positional versatility, able to slide around on that line. Great chest piece. So I like that. And then there was Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. Now, he's more the nose type as opposed to Mason Graham, but I got him with pick 41 in the second round, Tony. And then I had another second round pick because of my trading around, and I took Princely. Can you say his last name? Umanmielen? How do you say it?
Umanmielen. I think it is.
Umanmielen?
I think that's pretty close. I don't think that's exactly right. He played at Florida. I should know from Ole Miss.
Right, from Ole Miss. Right. 6'4", 255, and I did this last week when I had multiple second round picks. I took a guy that I felt like could be a front line, fits the size, never needs to come off the field in Stewart, and I feel like Princely is that designated third down pass rusher here. I'm willing to spend a mid to late second round pick on that position at that spot. So
if you say Princely, people know you're talking
Princely,
about. That's what
all right, that's who I went with. So I had 3 second round picks. Who'd you end up with?
Second round, I traded out of 36, gave up a 7th round pick in that as well from Buffalo, who gave me their 2 second round picks, 56 and 62. So I didn't pick till 56, but got Josh Carnley Jr., the offensive tackle out of Oregon. Probably wouldn't do it anywhere earlier than this at this point, but I've seen him, ranked among the top 2, 3, 4 offensive tackles in this draft. Figure out what you have to do to play all these guys in different spots. Not sure exactly how that would work. And also Darian Porter, cornerback out of Ohio State. Raw, super athletic kind of guy. Rangy guy, should be a really plus guy on special teams early on in his career. I did notice with a couple of the secondary guys that I wound up taking in this mock draft, they just both happen to be better for zone than they were man. At least that's the way they're being talked about, but we don't know what they're going to be running on defense.
Right.
So for now, take anything you want and make it fit the puzzle.
Take talent. All right, Dylan, second round.
I stayed put at 36, and I got the guard from West Virginia, White. Is it Milam?
Milam is what I'm going with, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yeah, that's what I got.
All right, and again, he was my second round pick at 36 last week, so you're following the Dempsey profile. Mason Graham, Wyatt Milam so far. All right, third round, Tone, I went with Azarie Thomas, the corner out of FSU, with pick 69. By the way, PFF had him rated at 84 overall. He's 6'2", 198. Good length, good size. It's a position, I think, of importance, and didn't know how good the quality was going to be at that position as the draft played out. So I went with Thomas with pick 69. And in an effort to not miss out on him last week, I took him at 129. This week, I took him at 88, and that's Cam Scatabo, the running back out of Arizona State. with the Vikings third-round pick that the Jaguars own from last year's trade down. That's where I went at the end of the third round.
Third round, my couple of picks in here at 69, Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas, projects as a great complementary wideout with the ability to really take the top off the defense. Super athlete, but the injury issues the last couple of years, curious to see where he is when this conversation really starts heating up here over the next few weeks. And then at 88, wound up taking Sebastian Castro, safety out of Iowa. Box safety, some more the strong safety type here for the Jaguars. More comfortable, again, in zone than in man, but we don't know what they're going to look like. So if I took one zone guy, I'll take another zone guy. It doesn't bother me all
Sure,
that
why
much.
not? Dylan, who you got in the third?
At 69th pick, I had Omar Norman Lott, the D tackle at Tennessee. And then at 88, I got the wide receiver from UNLV, Ricky White, fast guy, runs a 4.45 40.
All right, just going through the remainder of my picks. Again, I went O-line with Will Campbell. Let's call him a guard. 2 edge rushers, a D tackle, a corner, and a running back already in the first 3 rounds. I could have gone with Savion Thomas, the wide receiver. I wanted to mix it up. He was still available. I took Aronde Gadsden Jr. with this pick out of Syracuse. Similar type players, 6'5", 236, big-bodied guy to go opposite Brian Thomas Jr., red zone weapon, I hope. I initially had Jaden Roberts, the guard out of Alabama, before realizing he had elected to go back to school. He's still in the mock draft profile right there. So I switched that to Luke Kandra, a guard out of Cincinnati, 6'4", 323. I saw 1 or 2 other people who did their mocks. Had Kandra coming off the board. With the next pick, because I accumulated extra picks here, Lathan Ransom, a safety out of Ohio State. I went at 143. Kyle McCord out of Syracuse. Why not start the controversy, Tony? He's got his wide receiver, Aronde Gadsden, here to throw to, at least to develop that chemistry further in practice. And I just felt like he was too good of a value at that point in time. He is a guy that I could see. Some people think he's going to be in the conversation for the third quarterback off the board. At that point, I was okay with it. Another safety in Malachi Moore out of Alabama. Ryan Fowler pronounced it Marcus Bow. Is it Mbo? Bow? I'm not sure. It's spelled M-B-O-W. The Purdue offensive tackle. This was just silly. I got him to pick 179. PFF ranks him the number 80 overall player in the draft, right?
Yeah.
What is the likelihood that the Jags would have that opportunity to draft him? Probably pretty low. And I went with the same guy I went with last week at 222, J.J. Pegues, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. We talked about him last week. Bunch of sacks, great athlete, ran for 7 touchdowns there. I just felt like the value was good there in the 7th round. So what did you do after round 3?
No 7th round pick for me. I gave it up in that deal to get both the Buffalo's 2nd round picks. So at 104, Josiah Stewart, edge out of Michigan, more the speed rush type. There at 104, 124, Luke Kandra, offensive guard out of Cincinnati. He is a flexible guy. They're talking like he can play anywhere on the interior. You need him, although he did start exclusively a right guard up there at Cincinnati last year. Luke Lachey, tight end out of Iowa at 128. No harm in taking a flyer on an Iowa tight end late in an NFL draft. And then at 143, I also wound up with Alabama safety Malachi Moore. Projects as more the deep safety type. That's the way he's talking about it. But that would mean you got a box and a deep safety in this draft. So,
all right. So you and I both had Kandra and Moore, similar. You and Dylan both had Mason Graham. Who else you got, Dylan?
I had 2 extra picks since I traded back twice. I forget which picks I did, but went 115, Jared Wilson, the center out of Georgia. 124, Lander Barton, linebacker out of Utah. 143, Cameron Alexander, the corner from Oregon. The 156, I went Jordan James, the running back out of Oregon as well. Fast guy. Only reason I know his rating on NCAA football.
Oh, well, hell, you could be in the Jets front office right now. Or the Jags, maybe.
179, Ryan Lane III, the safety out of Navy. 207, Glendon Miller, the safety out of Maryland. And then pick 222, bring it on down, Shiloh Sanders, baby.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Shiloh, he's a defensive lineman, right?
No.
What is
DB.
he?
He's a DB.
He's a DB. Okay.
It says he's listed as safety, but I usually see him covering the slot corner.
I thought I saw maybe there was a guy with a similar name, and I'm like, I didn't think he was a big lineman either. But anyway.
He's pretty small.
All right, so got a couple of other full mocks sent in. Here's one somebody traded down to 13. It took Will Campbell. Went with safety, defensive tackle, corner, edge. You know, a lot of the usual suspects here along the way. And I think we had one other one another Tet McMillan one. They went with Princely U in the second round. Tate Ratledge out of Georgia, who is an attractive interior offensive line prospect. Grace Zabel, Malachi Moore, who we both had in this year's iteration, Tony. So let's see. What did I end up with here? I had a couple of edge players. I had a couple of defensive tackles. I had a pair of safeties. I had 2 interior offensive linemen and a tackle. I had a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver. And I think that covered it. What positions did you hit?
2 safeties, 1 box, 1 free safety for the Jags, 1 edge player, defensive tackle there in the first round, so didn't go defensive interior anywhere else in the draft. Offensive tackle and an offensive guard, 1 tight end, 1 corner, and 1 wide receiver.
Dylan, what positions did you hit?
I hit 2 D tackles, a guard, a center, linebacker, 3 safeties, a running back, and 1 corner.
Okay, and keep in mind, guys like the safeties. I took a linebacker last week. A lot of those guys, you draft to play special teams initially late in these drafts. Anyway, that was from Pro Football Network. They did their own 7-round mock as well. I think they had Will Johnson going to the Jags with the first pick in that one. If we have time tomorrow, perhaps we'll take a look at that. When we come back, we'll take a look at your responses to the Jaguars Today question of the day. We gave you 4 areas of concern, asked you which are you least concerned with for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we'll take a few more of your calls if you're willing to hang on the line and get in and discuss the news of the day. Liam Coen staying in Tampa with a redone contract to remain their offensive coordinator and passing up a chance for a second interview for the head coaching job here in Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. Cool out now, but when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now, like right now, like Lickety Split. Lickety Split will get you same-day emergency service, not only for your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. They're locally family-owned and operated, and they have a huge fleet of Texan trucks, so they can take care of your issue as quickly as possible, serving all of Northeast Florida, Jacksonville, Oakley, St. Augustine, Orange Park, Fleming Island, on and on and on. For quality and care, call the hair or go online to licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Bone-crushing blows to game-winning goals. Yes! Feel the energy on 1010XL. History! Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Yes! 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 Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Pacifico is brewed for those who let go of the things that don't matter and hold on
Pacifico, found in Baja. Imported by surfers. Ask for a Pacifico when you're ready to live life anchors up.
Pacifico is a crisp golden lager, brewed for those who know. It's what's behind a label that matters.
She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice, watch the roulette wheel spin, and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star, sip cocktails that shimmer, then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now, only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-10-MINUTE.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE Neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Hicken here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
At The Players, we are proud to support Jasmine in their mission to empower LGBTQIA+ teens and young adults through leadership, advocacy, resources, and a safe, affirming community. It's 48 days to go into The Players.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, from a first-time texter on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, nobody should spend a dime on this football team until sweeping changes are made. Hit them where it hurts. Well, when you say sweeping changes now, you're talking about one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're just talking about the GM, right? Because the entire coaching staff is going to turn over unless the new guy wants to retain a few from the previous staff. But
yep.
I mean, you're turning over your head coach, your coordinators, all the staff underneath them. That is pretty sweeping change, except it's not all-encompassing change. So, I mean, I don't know if firing your GM is considered a sweeping change at this point. Maybe it would be for the Jags. I don't know. But just said it when the initial press conference came out, Tony. I didn't buy this, if Trent Baalke's in the way, he's going to step aside, or the Jags are going to restructure or do any of this stuff. Said it then. Trent Baalke's going to be the GM of this football team. And if you think now that Shad Khan is going to change, and at this point, if he didn't change up until now, I'd be stunned. Stunned, I mean, be one of the biggest shocks I've had. At least change like where we know going into it, this is happening right now. There's been some talk that Trent Baalke could take a different role after the draft, whatever. I don't know, man. Just know this, Liam Coen will not be your next head coach here in Jacksonville. So we'll get to today's question of the day coming up. I want to give Connor a chance to sound off here in San Marco. He's been hanging on for a little bit. And Connor, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, please.
Hey, guys. Since you were on the topic of drafts, if they don't take a defensive lineman or a edge rusher, and we have to watch Yasir Abdullah and Miles Cole go out there on important downs, I'm going to lose my mind. So just wanted to throw that out there since we're on draft talk. But back to Shad Khan. Can we stop calling this guy a brilliant, genius of an owner? Because
who calls him that?
If I recall correctly, someone stole money internally, a few years ago.
Connor, who calls him a brilliant genius of an owner?
I think, I don't know, but I know it's been said out there that, he's a great businessman.
Well, he is that. He's obviously a great businessman. I mean, he built a multi-billion-dollar fortune for nothing. So, I mean, you can be two separate things. You can be a bad football owner because the results indicate he is, and you can be a brilliant businessman. All these owners are brilliant businessmen. Yeah. I think it's fair to say.
Agree. I will say, he needs to. I just can't see how Trent Baalke is going to remain as GM. I just don't know. History in the NFL. If you're going to, again, remember he lucked into this. It was Dave Caldwell. He came in as the AGM, and now he's been set as GM now for quite some time. I just don't understand it. I don't know if that's happened across the NFL historically, but it's just time to move on. There's too much turmoil in the office. I think the whole thing just needs to be stripped down. So that's all I have to say.
All right, appreciate it, man. Look, again, I'm just, that's a widespread opinion. When you say, though, that we need to stop referring to Shad as this brilliant football mind or owner.
Whatever he invested in his company that made that money, he invested $750,000 in the Jags, and they're worth $6 billion.
$750 million.
Yeah.
I thought you said $1 million.
Yeah.
But yes.
$750,000.
From a financial standpoint, he's a wizard.
Yeah.
He prints money. Right? He's been doing a great job of that.
He's not losing money with all the things that are going on here in Jacksonville. That's just the reality of it. He's not losing money being the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, before we get to today's poll question, Tony, let's take a quick tour around the rest of the NFL.
Now, Gems Around the NFL. Brought to you by Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Just a couple quick things here. The Minnesota Vikings and head coach Kevin O'Connell have agreed to a contract extension. O'Connell was set to enter into the final year of his deal as the Vikings head coach before that deal got done. And the New England Patriots are hiring Josh McDaniels to be their OC. McDaniels has spent 13 years as the Patriots offensive coordinator during 2 different stints there with the team. Now back for the 3rd time.
All right, just want to tie up today's question of the day. We'll take a few more calls if you want to get in here at 641-1010. But the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day asked you, because Wednesdays are typically going to be more draft-oriented here. Obviously, the news of the day can overtake that. But which of these position groups are you the least worried about for the 2025 Jacksonville Jaguars? And it's funny because people will vote for one, and then they'll say, I can't believe people are voting for this other one or this other. Look, you got to probably be worried about all of them to some degree. Which one do you think you could go to battle with the best, if necessary, today, and defend your case if you so choose? Tony, who are you voting for, or what position group?
It's corner, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just feel like we got enough to roll with. Again, and not that they wouldn't address it.
Yeah, I think these are the 4 positions that are probably the weakest on the team right now, but I would say corner's probably the one where if they didn't change anything, I would feel most okay, right, with what's going to happen with them, but I wouldn't feel great, right, about any of it, but corner would be where I'd land.
For me, I would go defensive tackle. And I know some people are like, oh, my God, I cannot believe that people are voting for a defensive tackle in this. But at least for 2025, okay, and that's what we asked about, not necessarily the long term here. I feel like, all right, you just drafted a guy in the 2nd round in Mason Smith. You drafted another one in Jordan Jefferson that didn't see the field a ton.
Sure.
But hopefully has some upside. You've got a lot of money invested in Devon Hamilton. Eric Armstead, we hope he plays a full-time 3-technique position this year. I'm not saying it's ideal, but I compare it to some of these other spots. Like, I don't know who the right guard is going to be, right now. I don't know how much Mitch Morse has left in the tank. Does he have another good year where he can hold on? He's under contract for one more season. So interior of the offensive line is worrisome. Safety's probably the most worrisome for me about the whole thing. I'm not confident in any of these guys as starting level players. And I'm not as concerned about some of these other spots as corner. I think the overall poll results reflect a lot of how I feel about it. Defensive tackle getting 40% of the vote. Corner getting 27%, interior O-line 18.5%, and right now safety drawing 14.5% of the vote. Again, this is the position you are the least worried about with the 2025 Jacksonville Jaguars. I can see a world where Mason Smith blossoms in his second year, where Eric Armstead goes back to playing his normal spot, and some combination of Hamilton and Jefferson does an adequate enough job as the Jags knows that. So that's the way I went with this one. If you haven't voted, the poll will remain up until tomorrow morning at MD_1010XL on the Twitter or X platform. Let's see. Did we, we did. Yesterday was not poll form. We just did the free agent thing. Didn't get a whole lot more of those on the overnight. So the news of the day, Liam Coen staying in Tampa. A new contract that will place him among the highest paid coordinators in the NFL, according to Adam Schefter. So he passes up the opportunity for a second coaching interview, which would have been an in-person one, which may have resulted in a job offer here in Jacksonville. He certainly was among the finalists, but will not even be hearing what the Jags have to say on the second go-round. If you want to weigh in, now's as good a time as any. Got a couple of minutes to do it. 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. We go to Herm and Ortega up next. Hello, Herm.
Hey, guys. I guess, one guy said somebody called him brilliant. Amongst myself and the fans, we actually think Shad Khan might be the worst owner in the NFL now. His record speaks for itself, 110-win season in his 12 years as owner. Just, I guess, want you guys' opinion. With a lot of people say you did a great job keeping the team in Jacksonville. Okay, we'll give him that. But then beyond that, he's just put us through so much suffering, and it's so obvious. The whole, Jordan Schultz, Yahoo, Mike Silver, all these guys saying this cheap and Trent Baalke is going to be an impediment to head coaching search. Now you see Ben Johnson spurring us for another head coaching job at least. Now we got Liam Coen spurning us for an offensive coordinator job. I guess my question for you guys, is Shad Khan the worst owner in the NFL? His record plus keeping Trent Baalke over the last 5-6 years. I think the fan base is kind of starting to realize it now. Just want you guys' opinion on it.
All right. I don't rank the owners, but I would say he's not his success in the last 5 years, and I know that's relative. He hasn't had a lot of it, but there are plenty of teams that have not won a division title in the last 5 years, right? So, is he among the best owners? Absolutely not. The record indicates. You can argue he's the worst, but is he any worse than Woody Johnson or a handful of other ones? I don't know. It's the fact that you're even in that conversation, Tony. I don't know how what are the criteria that go into being the worst owner, up until this year. Of course, they've got new ownership in Washington, right? Yeah. But Daniel Snyder probably could have been at the top of a lot of lists.
I don't keep a ranking of NFL owners and how good or bad they are. I'll say this about Shad Khan. I don't think he's gotten any better as a football guy since he got here.
Doesn't appear to have.
And in that degree, then you can feel however you want to about that. Like his willingness to stick with Gus Bradley as long as he did and Dave Caldwell as long as he did, it doesn't seem like he learned a lesson from that, right? He brings in Tom Coughlin, and Coughlin, unfortunately, with the way that things ended here that second time around, that stinks. But it felt like at least Shad was doing something to create the buffer between him and the football decisions that it does feel like is necessary here in Jacksonville. Well, right now that buffer is Trent Baalke. And it's a really poor choice for it to be Trent Baalke, and he's not doing anything to indicate that he's willing to move off that thing. I don't think he's any better as a football guy, but I think financially, look, the team's going to be here for the next 30 years, and that Shad Khan is responsible for that. And they have re-signed guys that we spent 15 years saying, are they ever going to be able to keep their guys? Ever? Is the franchise going to be able to do that? They did that, right? And that's Shad. He's willing to spend the money on these different things. I think he's no better as a football guy, and that ranks him wherever that ranks him among the owners.
Right, and I think that's a good way to put it, right? In terms of football acumen, nothing stands out in a positive way, quite frankly. And but again, keeping the team in Jacksonville shouldn't just be brushed past. That is a major. See this? What I'm doing here?
Yeah, we don't have a mic there right now. Yeah.
All right. Neil O'Brien coming in here. I was just trying to give her a signal. She's going all Schefter on us, staring at her phone at the moment. But anyway, I think your point was well made, Tone. He's willing to spend the money. He just hasn't spent it effectively over this period of time. At least, when you look at the bottom line of what the team's record is in this time period since he's owned the team. But again, I'd much rather have this than, the Jags left, and I'm glad we're rid of that bad owner. So I'm not saying that absolves you of all critique, obviously, because we're critiquing him. All right, let's welcome in Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, Mia, did you see it coming that Liam Coen wouldn't even give the Jags a second interview? Never mind. Look, there's always
second
the
interview,
possibility.
yes.
You didn't think that he'd give him a second interview?
Did I think Liam Coen would?
Yes.
Do a second? Yes.
Oh, you thought? Okay. So,
yes.
Right.
I thought he would have his second interview today. It would be discussed then as far as the inner workings of what he would like the organization to look like if he was to become the head coach. I fully expected that second-round interview to take place. As Peter Schrager of NFL Network reported, it's a credit to Jason Licht, Mikey Greenberg, and that front office that they stepped in. And while so many fans were petrified in Tampa Town about they're going to have to fire Bowles and keep Liam Coen, they made a compelling enough case to say, hey, we'll make you one of the highest paid OCs. You get to stay here. And
yeah, being one of the highest paid OCs probably doesn't equate to being an NFL head coach in salary, is my guess.
Yeah, salary, it's, you're splitting hairs at that point. As one league source just told me moments ago, it's, a $5 million difference. That's a lot of money, sure, but at the same time, you're still going to be making, the expectation right now from what I was told is he's going to be making somewhere between $5 and $6 million a year with this new contract. And so, at that point in time, you also alleviate the headache and the stress of a situation that, in the words of another candidate who will not be the next head coach of the Jaguars, Ben Johnson, you then take a step back and maybe you wait for a situation that maybe fits your liking a little bit more.
All right, so who do you think moves to the top of the list?
I have no idea. Okay. Honestly, I have no idea. I know Robert Saleh is interviewing on Friday. I've heard from some people up there in New York where he previously was, as well as some of his other stomping grounds, that they believe that the smoke is real, that he is actually a viable candidate. I always viewed his candidacy through the lens of so many of these young offensive-minded would-be first-time head coaches had said in their binders. If you don't know what the binder is, when they show up to the interview, the agent, the representation has prepared them with a list of, here are all the things that we've agreed that I would do if I was to become your head coach. Many of them in their binders pitched Robert Saleh, and so I personally viewed it as nothing more than an information session, but evidently, the Cons still have immense respect for him. So,
well, and apparently Saleh didn't get that impression either, because he has a reported standing offer to be the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league. Right. And he's still not, he wants back in the game.
Correct. And I was told he's going to play out the process here, Dallas, Vegas. He is going to exhaust all of those opportunities to become a head coach this cycle and then would pivot back to a DC offer.
All right, so I assume you're talking about that and more today.
Yes. Taylor Dahl and I are going to open up the phone lines, so we're going to keep it going here after, if you didn't get in on Jaguars Today, because I know you guys.
They're very happy.
Yeah, they are. Oh, they're happy. Good.
Totally.
Listen, they were happy.
Excited.
They didn't like Liam Coen yesterday, so now they're all in.
As somebody said, I didn't realize how much I wanted Liam Coen until I couldn't have Liam Coen.
Yeah, exactly.
And it may be your second choice, but then you're like, damn, what are we going to do now? Well, we'll find out.
So we'll find.
Do you think it'll be one of Graham or Saleh? I know you don't know who it is at the top of the list, but they've only asked for second interviews with 3 guys.
Right. If you recall, when Ian Rappaport reported the schedule for those 3 second-round interviews, he said that there could be more coming next week. I would anticipate you will see this process dragged out another week now. So whether that's Joe Brady, Kellen Moore is still technically out there, Todd Monken, you could interview today if you really wanted to. Cliff Kingsbury, if the Commanders are eliminated, which at this point in time I wouldn't bet against them.
Here's the only issue, I think. If you wait, let's say you wait, right? And Brady goes to the Super Bowl against Kingsbury, okay? Which is possible, right? So you wait all that time. What if neither one goes at the end? That's not the right situation. I'm going to stay where I am with what I've got with a team that made it to the Super Bowl.
You just got burned by that.
Right. Meanwhile,
Not
along
Super
the way,
Bowl
Robert
included,
Sala's like, I'm not waiting 3 weeks because clearly if I was your choice, you'd be offering me the job. If I was your top choice, you'd be offering me the job. So he moves on, and all of a sudden you're left with whoever's willing to take the job as
Head
opposed
coach
to
Ryan
a
Nielsen.
choice.
Head coach Press Taylor.
Doug Peterson is available, and he is one of Shad's most trusted advisors, we've learned.
Now,
So,
the coordinators, too. Maybe Heath Farwell wants to be the head coach. I'd sign up for that.
honestly, if Heath Farwell had gotten a courtesy interview,
I'd be okay
you shouldn't
with
have
that.
batted an eye at that because he's actually done a good job.
Yeah, and he loves living here. He loves the franchise. He's been nothing but great to fans. And
But now if you're Heath Farwell, it's like, some of your 11th choice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at this point, if you're added to, unless you're a guy like Cliff Kingsbury, who's expressly stated, I'm not going to talk until my team's eliminated, there's no reason you haven't already been invited to the party at this point. So,
yes.
Have a good show.
Thank you.
All right. Mia O'Brien and Taylor Dahl coming up with helmets and heels. That'll do it for us tomorrow. Travis Holmes from Big Cat Country will join us in hour 1. Pete Prisco from CBS Sports in hour number 2. And we'll talk Jaguar football, Tony, in all its many thrilling iterations.
We will.
That's tomorrow. Thanks to Ryan Fowler from the Draft Network and all of you who listened to the program and participated in your very many myriad ways behind the scenes as well. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Stick around for Helmets and Heels next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.